was the most gifted shinobi of his generation, a warrior born with power so rare, so overwhelming, that even his enemies respected him. A man who fought not for himself, but for peace, for a world where children would never have to know war. And then he watched everything he believed in get destroyed. One loss, one moment, one person taken from him. And from that moment, Madara Uchiha made a decision that would reshape the entire world. He decided that humanity, all of it, was not worth saving. This video is not about whether Madara was wrong. You already know the answer to that. This video is about something that will make you deeply uncomfortable, because the psychology that turned Madara into a god who wanted to trap humanity in an eternal dream is not unique to him. It is not unique to anime. It lives in every person who has ever been hurt badly enough, let down deeply enough to consider, even for one dark second, that maybe people just are not worth it. Part 2. Who was Madara Uchiha? To understand what Madara became, you have to understand what Madara was before the world broke him. He was born into war. The Uchiha and Senju clans had been killing each other for generations. Children trained to be soldiers before they could read, brothers buried before they reached adulthood. Madara lost 4 brothers to that war. 4, before he was a teenager. And yet, in the middle of all that death, he met Hashirama Senju, his enemy, a boy from the clan that had taken everything from him, and they became best friends. This is the part of Madara's story most people skip over because it is not dramatic enough, but it is the most important part. Because 2 boys from opposite sides of a generational war chose each other anyway. They sat by the river and dreamed of a village where children would not have to die. They called it Konoha before it existed. They built it in their imaginations first, the way all great things are built. Madara was not born a villain. He was born a dreamer, a visionary, a person who loved so deeply that losing what he loved would eventually destroy not just him, but his entire philosophy about what humanity deserves. Psychologists call this a catastrophic attachment rupture, when someone's most fundamental belief about human connection, that people can choose each other over tribe, over history, over fear, gets violated at its core. The mind does not just grieve, it restructures, it builds walls, it reaches for control. Because if the one person who proved humanity was worth trusting can betray you, then the entire theory is wrong. And if the theory is wrong, a new one must be built, no matter what it costs. Part 3. The moment everything changed. Konoha was built, the dream became real, and then Madara watched it become something he never intended. The village that was supposed to end the cycle of war became a political machine. The elders chose Hashirama as Hokage over Madara, not because Hashirama was more worthy, but because the Senju were more trusted, more numerous, more politically safe. The Uchiha were sidelined, isolated, watched with suspicion. And Madara, the man who had sacrificed more than anyone to build this village, was treated as a threat within the walls he helped construct. This is where the psychology becomes fascinating and terrifying in equal measure, because Madara's response to this betrayal was not rage, not immediately. It was grief, a profound identity-level grief, the kind that does not just hurt, it rewrites. In psychological terms, Madara experienced what is called a fundamental worldview collapse. His entire identity had been organized around one belief, that 2 people from opposite sides could choose each other, and that choice could change the world. When that belief was proven wrong not once but repeatedly, by the politics of the village, by Hashirama's inability to protect him from the elders, by the slow suffocation of everything they had dreamed together, Madara did not just lose faith in Konoha, he lost faith in people. And a genius who loses faith in people is the most dangerous thing in the world, because they still have all the intelligence, all the vision, all the strategic brilliance, but now it is pointed in an entirely different direction. not toward building, toward controlling. Part 4. The speech that explains everything. Now we come to the moment that made Madara legendary. Not his power, not his Susanoo, not the meteor he dropped on the battlefield like punctuation. His speech. Because Madara did not just want to destroy the world. He wanted to explain why it deserved what he was doing to it. And his explanation, as wrong as it is one of the most psychologically coherent villain philosophies ever written. He said, in his own words, that in this world, wherever there is light, there are also shadows. As long as the concept of winners exists, there must also be losers. The selfish desire of wanting to maintain peace causes wars, and hatred is born in order to protect love. Read that again carefully, because he is not wrong about the observation. Wherever there is light, there are shadows. Winners require losers. The desire for peace does create the conditions for war. These are not the delusions of a madman. These are accurate observations about the structure of reality. What makes Madara's psychology so dangerous is not that he lied. It is that he told the truth, and then drew the most catastrophic possible conclusion from it. His logic was, if duality is the source of all suffering, if the existence of both light and shadow, both love and hatred, both winners and losers is the engine of endless pain, then the solution is to eliminate duality itself. Put everyone in a dream. Remove choice. Remove consequence. Remove the possibility of loss.
The closing truth. Madara Uchiha did not start as a villain. He started as a boy throwing stones into a river with his best friend, dreaming of a world without war. The tragedy of Madara is not that he was evil. It is that he was right about the problem and catastrophically wrong about the solution. He saw the duality of human nature with perfect clarity.
He understood that suffering is structural, not accidental. He felt the weight of that truth so completely that it crushed the one thing that could have saved him, his willingness to keep choosing people anyway. And when that willingness died, his genius became a weapon pointed at the world he once loved. The lesson Madara leaves us, written in meteors and moonlight and an eternal dream that became a nightmare, is this. The pain is real. The disappointment is real. The people who let you down were real, and what they did to you was real. You are allowed to carry that. But the moment you let that pain become a philosophy, the moment disappointment becomes a worldview, the moment hurt becomes a reason to stop trusting entirely, you begin the walk toward Madara's loneliness. Powerful, certain, completely alone. Trying to save a world you no longer believe in from a prison you built yourself. Stay in the pain long enough to learn from it, but do not let it become your architecture. I want to know what you think. Was there a version of Madara's story where he chooses differently? Was there a moment, one moment, where he could have been saved? Drop your answer in the comments below. The next edition of The Hidden Path is coming, and the psychology gets darker.
So make sure to subscribe and drop a comment on what you think of Madara's idea of peace, and who you think I should talk about on the next episode.